The experiment is divided in two phases. During phase 1, silicone plugs are placed on my nose and I continue with my daily routine. Eating, exercising, and sleeping remain unchanged, but I solely rely on breathing through my mouth. The doctor will examine different aspects of my health to gather information. Afterwards, the doctor will compare the collected data sets to see if there are any noticeable changes in my brain and body as a result of the experiment. During my first night with a blocked nose, my snoring skyrocketed by 1300%, which amounts to 75 minutes. I used a sleep tracker app to record my breathing and show it on a graph every morning. I also had 4 times more sleep apnea events, which were monitored by a night vision security camera.
My throat is so dry. Oh my god.
And here I am, seated with my mouth wide open under the harsh glare of an LED light, wondering why I willingly subjected myself to such unnecessary hardships. My mom calls, and I can sense the tension in her voice. She came to know about the experiment through my brother. I did everything to calm her down, but she insisted on seeing me over the camera. She is shocked upon seeing my face. Once tan and bright, now looks thin and pale. Every 3 seconds, a gust of air devoid of filtration, moisture and warmth forcefully enters through my mouth. The relentless flow dries out my tongue, irritates my throat and leaves my lungs in a state of displeasure. I am seriously thinking about quitting the experiment. Probably during your last checkup, the doctor measured your blood pressure, pulse, and temperature and listened to your heart and lungs. She discussed diet, sleep, exercise, vitamins, and stress, but overlooked checking your respiratory rate and oxygen balance. Your breath's quality and impact on well-being were not examined. Today marks the halfway point of the non-breathing phase of the experiment. And today, just like every other day, I continue my routine of recording my physiological data in the morning, at noon, and in the evening. The data displayed confirms what I've seen in the previous days. Mouth breathing is destroying my health. On average, my blood pressure has surged by 13 points since the beginning of the test, pushing me into stage 1 hypertension. At the same time, my heart rate variability, which indicates the balance of my nervous system, has significantly dropped. It suggests that my body is constantly under stress. Furthermore, my body temperature has decreased, and my mental clarity has reached its lowest point. The final, tasting protocol, eating, happens alone. Through both phases of the experiment, I'll be eating the same food at the same time to see how mouth breathing might affect weight and metabolism. After finishing the dishes, a realization starts to sink in. I feel incredibly awful, as if I'm trapped in an endless state of misery and growing to despise life. Fortunately, after some time, things take a slightly different turn. I make the decision to embark on a bike ride, aiming to determine the distance I can cover with my nose plugged, relying solely on mouth breathing. Unsurprisingly, it has a detrimental impact on both my endurance and efficiency. I find myself drenched in sweat, my vision blurred, and I manage to pedal a total of 5.7 miles, which is just 25% of my usual average distance. In Western medicine, the prevailing belief for the past century was that the nose was a secondary organ. The idea was that we should primarily breathe through it, but if not, breathing through the mouth was considered acceptable. This perspective is still supported by many doctors. But here is the question: why aren't there any specialized doctors for the nose? The National Institute of Health has 27 departments dedicated to various areas like lungs, eyes, skin diseases, and ears, among others. Surprisingly, none of these departments represent the nose and sinuses. Do you find this absurd? 40% of the population experiences chronic nasal obstruction. Various factors contribute to this issue. However, a significant portion of the blame lies in the decreasing space within the human skull. Throughout our evolution, tenderizing food made it easier to digest and chew, particularly meat. Insufficient mouth width leads to a rise in the roof of the mouth, creating a V-shaped or high-arched palate. This upward growth hampers nasal cavity development, resulting in reduced space and restricted airflow. It's the final night of the experiment's nasal obstruction phase, and once again, my snoring has escalated by a staggering 5,000%. Additionally, I've been facing another issue throughout this phase. Mouth breathing leads to a 40% higher water loss in the body. I've been experiencing this firsthand every night, constantly waking up feeling parched and dry. It has even resulted in bedwetting. Mouth breathing was also making me dumber. It was throwing off the balance of pH levels in my body, and I started to observe the formation of cavities. Additionally, I have to admit that I was also experiencing erectile dysfunction. Returning to the hospital, my hope is to undo the harm caused over the past 10 days and even the past 3 decades. I yearn to rediscover the way our ancestors breathed and even relearn it anew. I quickly grab a pullover and step out in the backyard, feeling the grass beneath my bare feet. I let out a sigh, expelling stagnant air from my chest, and take a deep breath in. My senses are instantly overwhelmed by the strong smell of a rose, the invigorating aroma of a lemon tree, and the delicate trace of anise from the fading leaves. These scents are so vivid and striking that I can almost see them. With each subsequent breath, I envision these molecules traveling down my throat and entering my lungs, permeating deep into my bloodstream. They become the fuel that ignites my thoughts and the sensations that accompany them. This profound connection to my surroundings feels incredibly intimate. Good night, and don't forget to subscribe. This is my very first video. The nose plays a vital role as it clears, warms, and humidifies the air, making it easier for our bodies to take in. This fact is widely recognized by many. However, we rarely pause to contemplate the fascinating phenomenon that the nostrils of each individual pulsate to their own unique rhythm. In a remarkable ancient tantric text called the Shiva Swarodaya, dating back 1300 years, it was revealed that one nostril opens to allow the breath in, while the other gently closes during different periods of the day. The occurrence, known as nasal cycles, was initially documented by a German physician named Richard Kaiser. He observed that the alternating patterns of nasal cycles seemed to be influenced not so much by the enigmatic forces of the moon, but rather by the presence of sexual desires. Surprisingly, the interior of the nose is coated with erectile tissue, just like the flesh that covers the penis, clitoris, and nipples. Yes, you heard it right. Noses can experience erections. Consider the right nostril as a gas pedal. When you primarily inhale through this pathway, your circulation accelerates, body temperature rises, and levels of cortisol, blood pressure, and heart rate escalate. In contrast, when you inhale through the left nostril, it acts like a brake on the accelerator of the right nostril. The left nostril is linked to the rest and relax side, which helps lower blood pressure, cool down the body, and alleviate anxiety. The ancient Chinese were onto it as well. The breath inhaled through the mouth is called Ni Qi, adverse breath, which is extremely harmful, states a passage from the Tao. The nose is a remarkable and often overlooked part of our existence. It acts as a vigilant guardian, safeguarding our bodies, while also serving as a healer for our minds and a compass for our emotions. Within the depths of this unassuming feature lies the profound secret of life itself.